If you're talking about retail, you've got to grab that customer as they're walking past your shelf, and your packaging is essentially a billboard. But if you're looking at e-commerce or subscription boxes, when they open it, that's when your brand image is speaking to the customer.
Hey everybody, Chris George here. Welcome to SubSummit Studios. Super excited today. I've got Lucy and Ryan from Heritage Paper. Hey guys, welcome to the SubSummit Sound. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
As many of you know, and as business owners, especially in the subscription box space, but direct-to-consumer packaging, packaging is super important, right? And thinking about what that comes in, the box that it gets delivered in, the packaging around the product, there's so many different factors that can play a part within what you're building and within your brand. And so if you guys quickly could just give us a quick intro on Heritage Papers and tell us a little bit about yourselves and what the business has grown to and what you've built over the last few years.
So we're based here in Santa Ana, California, which is Orange County, just a little bit south of LA. We've been delivering custom packaging solutions for over 40 years now in every market: medical, food, industrial, and e-commerce. We are a member of APAS, which is Amazon's network of select packaging suppliers. But we do mostly custom packaging. We support our customers with a variety of resources that we think is important, that they think is important for them to help them gain a competitive edge and increase their business. So, and certainly the most important resource that we provide is our packaging design expertise. Because as you mentioned, Chris, it starts with good packaging, right? It has to start there.
I'm a design engineer at Heritage. I've been there for 10 of my 11 years in the packaging industry. I've got a background in mechanical engineering.
Tell me a little bit about the different designs you've seen. Things that have been awesome, things that have worked well. Happy to hear about a lot of that.
Everybody comes to us wanting the greatest packaging they can get for their money. One of the things we see most common is, I want the iPhone box. I want that amazing presentation experience. And there's so many components to the iPhone box. You pull the telescoping box apart, and you've got these beautiful layers of, here's the quick start guide, here's everything. And unfortunately, that tends not to be the best choice for everyone.
I have literally every MacBook box and cell phone box. So it's funny that you said that, because I feel like I've probably said that. It makes sense that they all want to make it like that.
There's an equation, and that's one piece of the equation, but sometimes, there's other factors that cancel the iPhone box for you.
Right.
So I think if you look back at the history of packaging, the purpose of it is protection, right? The reason boxes were invented in the first place is we've got to move product from point A to point B. How do we keep it safe, keep it, isolated from the elements?
What's an alternative, or what have you seen work really well? Something that gives that look and feel of a high-end presentation sort of box?
We've got, I'd say, two sort of different channels. You've got your retail channel and your e-commerce channel, and there's different solutions for both of them. And some customers have both channels in their own business, and they use two different kinds of packaging. If you're talking about retail, you've got to grab that customer as they're walking past your shelf, and your packaging is essentially a billboard. But if you're looking at e-commerce or subscription boxes, it's sort of the opposite. You want it to get through the mail, and then when they open it, that's when your brand image is speaking to the customer. So there's a sort of a famous story in packaging about the gateway computers that came out with the cow printed images on the outside of their box.
I remember.
Everyone was getting their computer stolen because when someone walked by the porch, they saw that box and they knew there was a computer in there. I'm going to take that. I generally tell people, and I think that they typically agree with me, to focus on the inside of the package rather than the outside. That's where you take your time and put more effort and more thought into how the product's laid out, how the print, how the design works.
Sure. So are you suggesting in some cases they ship a box within a box, or are you suggesting they ship the corrugated box, sort of a simple outside box, but on the inside, the way the products are whether it is a filler or they're separated by dividers, or the design on the inside is more prevalent?
I'm a huge fan of efficiency, so I think if you can minimize the number of pieces, it does two things. It reduces your cost, but also reduces your labor time when you're assembling your packaging. But it can also help with the customer experience, because you want a package that's fairly intuitive and the customer doesn't have to spend a bunch of time taking the packaging apart. And that's actually part of Amazon's frustration-free packaging solution is, can they get their product out ready to use in less than 2 minutes? So I would recommend minimizing the number of pieces. Maybe inserts help do that, or maybe they don't. But yeah, I definitely like the idea of using a single box for your shipper and your primary packaging. If you've got a really high-end product, you're probably going to want to go with a nicer presentation. Think jewelry box or that iPhone box, and you're going to want to put that inside a shipper. But if you've got something like a refillable product, like, for example, razor blades, or, sort of a monthly reorder type of subscription, your customers are probably focused on getting efficient packaging. They don't want to see a lot of extra money going into the packaging.
It's interesting. Okay, so you could take a pair of $10 sunglasses, ship them in a velvet bag, or put them in the actual sunglasses case, like a nice one. And you're probably going to sell the one in the case for more, right? And the difference was what they were put in. I could spend an extra $1 on that case that's not a velvet bag, and then the perceived value of the sunglasses is, 100% more.
Perceived value goes a long way. And to take that a step further, the velvet bag or the sunglasses case shouldn't just be bouncing around inside the box. It should be held in place and oriented, straight and symmetrically with the logo pointing the customer when they open that.
Got it.
All those little cues are the things that add value to your packaging.
Are you a brand looking to grow your subscribers and only pay when the user becomes a subscriber? Ignite OPM is a premier performance marketing agency specializing in content, mobile, and affiliate user acquisition. By working as an extension of your marketing team, Ignite strategically builds brand-friendly affiliates, mobile, and content programs to drive incremental sales, quality traffic, and engagements. We deliver results-driven strategy for medium to large subscription brands such as Babbel, Acorns, and KiwiCo, all looking to drive higher ROI on a performance basis. Visit www.igniteopm.com to learn how we can drive incremental subscribers for your brand.
This virtual event is a celebration of those amazing things that these companies are doing. From acquisition to retention,
over 100 different suppliers.
You're going to get tips and tricks you won't find anywhere else.
Network, share ideas, and build your business.
You need to be at Subscription Innovations.
It's absolutely free to attend. What are ways that you're seeing brands sort of think about sustainability with the shipping or the packaging?
Sustainability is definitely high profile now with everybody, right? It was 5 years ago, just some of our customers were thinking about reducing their waste in packaging. We were helping them kind of downgrade their board construction to something that was as efficient, as minimally efficient as it needed to be. And now the last few years, especially, most of your major consumer brands, corporations have sustainability objectives and initiatives. With the climate change crisis and the climate change movement and the awareness, it's really down into everyday consumer is aware of sustainability and the environmental impact of things like excessive packaging, too much plastic. I mean, that's huge, right? So certainly everybody is now aware of it, and we see a lot of companies, large and small, putting those kinds of messages on their packaging. Okay, this package is made with 100% recycled content, or environmentally friendly soy-based inks, or forestry initiative. There's different ways to put that message there, but it's definitely at Mary Jo and John on the streets. They're all aware of it now.
What other sort of other packaging alternatives have you seen? People thinking about shipping in a padded envelope versus a box, or whatever the case may be. What are you seeing out there? What's working well? How's the consumers thinking about that stuff? And how are the brands thinking about it?
The padded envelope is a great alternative, but it's still got a ways to go. Most of the envelopes you see now, so they do one thing great. They cost less to ship. They take up less room in a truck or the plane, which is, saving fuel and saving time. Mm-hmm. But they're typically made of laminated materials that can't be thrown straight in the recycling bin. Mm. They either have to be pulled apart or they can't be pulled apart and they're not recyclable. Paper versus plastic is kind of the big driver in sustainability. And you've seen that go back and forth over the years. It was paper first, and then, plastic's recyclable, and back to paper. I think in terms of designs or styles or general packaging concepts, the box, even though it was the first, it's still the best.
Okay, so let's talk about the box being delivered and the product being protected.
You generally want to right size your box and only use the dunnage to protect sensitive products like a glass bottle. So there's some cool alternatives like spring fill is basically like a type of crinkle paper. It's shredded, folded paper. It looks kind of cool too, Easter basket style. There's a paper that has a bunch of slits in it, and you stretch it, and it has sort of a cheese grater look, and it creates a very nice cushion effect that's pretty easy to use. Lucy's aware of some other alternatives as well.
Right. I mean, it's for some industrial type subscription models, you know, the survival kits and the dog food, stuff like that. You can just get craft paper from like a U-line and crinkle that up. There are some of the air pillows that are of a recyclable plastic, but I think as Ryan says, it's about trying to size your packaging to minimize the void fill. And that's actually one of the advantages of a digital process, actually. So in a digital, if you're going to digitally print your packaging for a subscription service, you're not investing in cutting dies and print plates. And so if this quarter's offering requires a box of only 3 inches high, then you're going to run a box that's just 3 inches high. If the next season you've got something a little bit bigger, so you've got maximum flexibility with the digital press.
But it sounds like with the digital printing, outside of changing the box size, you could also change the design of the box every quarter.
Exactly.
Right? So there's
every
huge...
10. You could even customize it within a run. So say you're going to run 1,000 pieces or 2,000 or 2,500. You could have 400 of them in a blue tone, 300 in a red tone, 400, because you don't have a big setup. But Ryan has a pretty cool little graphic showing the difference between the different print processes.
Let's see that. That'd be awesome.
And maybe he wants to talk to that.
This one doesn't mention digital printing in particular. It gives you an idea of how to think about the cost implications of the particular process that you're going to use to manufacture your packaging. Whenever you're looking at cost analysis for your packaging, think about how each process can add time and money to the overall package. So that's what we do.
But the litho label is cost less or more than digital printing?
Well, there's so the upfront cost to make your very first box with a litho label costs a lot more. To make one box with a digital printer might cost you $5. To make that same box with a litho label, it might cost you $500 to $1,000. Once you reach perhaps 1,000 boxes, that's your break-even point. And anything after that, the litho label becomes cheaper. Basically, each box is much cheaper with a litho label. Yeah. But
every time you want to change it, though, you're going to have more upfront costs.
This is a flat layout of 4 different boxes that all have the same inner dimensions. Top left is what we call a roll-in tuck top, and that's the most common box you see with subscription boxes. To the right is what we call an econo. It functions basically the same way. It opens the same way, and it looks the same to the end user when you're opening the box.
So what's the disadvantage between that one and the one on the left?
It depends on the actual dimensions that you need. If you start with the roll-in tuck top, and then let's say you add a couple more products to your box, and you might want to go back and reconsider, do you have the best design for this size package?
These business owners are talking to their packaging company. They should be asking these questions and looking for alternative designs that have less wasted space to potentially save on cost. Clearly, you guys have created some amazing designs and have a ton of expertise in packaging. Thanks so much for being on the show. If any of you are looking for packaging needs, please reach out to Heritage Papers. Hopefully we'll see you guys in November at SubSummit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for having us, and continue to take care out there.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.